So I'm Mike Wargo. I'm not like a superstar recruit. I wasn't like Robert Smith or like Eddie George or anything. So if you guys want to leave now, that's okay. I was a very common guy. Okay, basically, I went to high school in a town called Hudson, Ohio, and we weren't really known at that point for a football program. And I played football there, and I was looking to play at Division III. And I looked at a couple of schools in Division III, and I was probably going to go to like either Heidelberg or Mount Union. And I didn't even think about, this is embarrassing, but I'm a guy that grew up by Philadelphia. And don't hold this against me, don't shoot me. I was a Penn State guy. Then I moved to Ohio. I didn't get into my dream school, Penn State. And I was looking like, I wanted to play football. I was looking to play like Division III. And then I didn't even think about Ohio State, but I applied to Ohio State because if you go to Ohio, you apply to Ohio State.
That's right.
So I had a track meet at Ohio State. The only way I got there is the number one shot putter to put the team, so I was the number one shot putter by default. So yeah, I'll go to Ohio State for this track meet, and within about a half an hour, after seeing the stadium and everything else, I completely fell in love with it. And by the time that ended, this was like March of 1990, I'm like, I'm going to go to Ohio State. And, you know, you think about fate. I didn't know where I wanted to go to college. I was very confused. I fell in love with Ohio State on the Saturday. I didn't hear back from them. On Monday, I got accepted to Ohio State. So that's like fate. So I'm like, I'm going to go to Ohio State. So all my friends in high school, hey, where are you going to play football? Like Division III, like, you know, Heidelberg, Mount Union, Ohio Northern. I said, I'm going to go to Ohio State. And they thought I needed my head examined. Like, are you crazy? You're not going to make it at Ohio State. You're not going to do it. I'm like, well, I'm going to give it a shot. So I went down to Ohio State. My first year I was a student. That was 1990. I fell in love. I went to football games, but I wasn't on the team. And then one of the greatest things happened. Being Ohio State fans, you wouldn't think this is true, but for me, it was great. They lost to Air Force in the Liberty Bowl. Remember that game? It was horrible. Like, John Cooper had like 2 assistant coaches. Everybody left.
Move on.
So I figured like in January, I'll give it a shot. So I tried out with the student body. I was not a recruited walk-on. They didn't know I existed. I tried out my first year in January. I didn't make the team. So I kept working out, I kept trying. I called the recruiting coordinator at the time, which was Bill Conley, and I kept harassing him, and he gave me a summer tryout. So I made the team in the summer of 1991. I was amazed. He's like, yeah, you want to come down and join our team? And I was really amazed. I'm like, no way. So I made the team, and I'm like, they're going to figure out that I shouldn't be here the first day. And I kept every single practice. I kept making. I was okay. And I made it to like the first game. I was like, I can't believe this. So like, I made it through the practice. I got my ass kicked a lot of times every single day in practice, but they still didn't cut me. So I was still on the team. And I'll never forget that first day. That first day I show up, and I was like, oh my God, there's a jersey in the locker with Wargo on it. And I was like, oh my God. And all the people I looked at on television that you see on television here today, they're next to me like trying on everything, and it was great. So like, you run out, it's like the greatest high in the life. So when you're a walk-on, basically you're like a third-class citizen. I kept going. 91 I didn't play. 92 I didn't play. And in 1993 they did an article on me in the Columbus Dispatch about walk-ons. And then finally, like, I didn't think I was ever going to play. I was about to quit. And Penn State, Ohio State, Penn State, 1993, is like the end of the game. And all of a sudden, Cooper's like, Wargo, Mike Wargo, John Cooper. You guys might not like him, but I think he's the greatest guy in the world. And John Cooper's like, Wargo, you're going to the game. And I'm like, oh my God. So I didn't think I was ever going to, it's like Ohio State, Penn State. I'm like, if I'm ever going to play, it's Ohio State, Northwestern. Ohio State, like a really small school. It's Ohio State, Penn State. And he's like, you're going to the game. And I'm starting to shake. I'm like, oh my God, this is really going to start to happen. I'm like really getting nervous. And I'm like, oh my God, there's 95,000 people here. What are those cameras? Those cameras are like ABC. The famous guys like Keith Jackson and Bob Greasy are doing this game. And so I'm like trying to process all this. I'm about to play for the Ohio State University. And I never thought this was going to happen. I'm trying to process it. This might be a reality. And then I'm starting to fear like what's going to happen. I'm shaking. I can see like I'm going to jump off sides and do something crazy. Keith Jackson's going to be like, oh, Nelly! He really screwed up. Oh, he blew an opportunity of a lifetime. Bob Green's going to be like, you know, you have to be prepared when you're going to go out there, even if you're a walk-on. So I'm out. It's against Penn State. The first time we ever played Penn State, 1993. We're up 24-6. The famous Joe Paterno's on the other sideline. For me, it was extra special because I grew up by Philadelphia, wanting to play for Penn State. So like this is like the ultimate like fantasy come true. I'm in the game for the Ohio State University Buckeyes. I'm playing against my dream school, Penn State, and now I'm an Ohio State Buckeye. And you know, I'm shaking, but I get down there and I didn't jump off sides. Although I kind of moved but they didn't call it on because it was the first game. So I'm blocking, and it worked. So like you know, everything went great. So I'm a walk-on. I'm not like a guy that was a superstar athlete. I'm a guy like, you know, a common guy, student guy that walked on to Ohio State. I got to live my dream. My last year, I blew my knee out, so I didn't get to play. So that's my Rudy story. I'm the Rudy of Ohio State. I call myself the original Rudy of Ohio State because the movie came out right when that happened. So that's my story. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for having me, and go Bucks.
Thank you for being here. Yes.
Thank you.
Woo!